Hi everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel and another paper crafting video tutorial. Today we are going to be creating with these STAMPtember 2024 exclusives for Newton's Nook called Happy Paw-lidays and the STAMPtember 2024 limited edition exclusive for honeybee stamps called Sending Autumn Blessings. First up, we are going to create these coffee cup tags, gift card holder tags, with the Newton's Nook Happy Paw-lidays set. First though, we are going to create the gift card holders. This is the new coffee cup gift card holder from Lawn Fawn, as well as some of their Candy Cane Lane pattern papers from their 2024 holiday release. And I have got a backer from white cardstock, a front for my tag from pattern paper, the coffee cup cozy also from a pattern paper, and the lids for my coffee cup out of black cardstock. And I have 2 of those per each tag. I've also cut the little slit in the front of my tag, or coffee cup in this case, to hold a gift card holder or cash. I love that it is a separate die cut piece so that you can choose to use it or not depending on what kind of card you're making with this coffee cup. Next, I'm taking the Happy Paw-lidays images from the STAMPtember 2024 limited edition exclusive, and I laid them out. I think they're going to be cute, and we're going to make 3 gift tags with these images. First, let's go ahead and assemble the cups. I am putting glue at the top and around the sides of the bottom portion only. You want to leave that open so you can slide something inside. Then I'm going to glue the front panel on each of my coffee cups. On the back, I am going to glue one part of the lid for my coffee cup, and then I will also glue on the front. Well, no, that's not true. I actually wait to glue on the front part because we're going to stamp a greeting from the Happy Paw-lidays stamp set. Now I want to also use the little holly image, and I think I want to use Happy Paw-lidays. I really tried to use it as is, but you're going to see me make an alteration or adjustment to the greeting here in a minute to make the sentiment work better with my particular card, or in this case, gift card design. So I'm going to glue the rest of these together, and then we will continue making these super fun gift tags. As I mentioned, I'm using Happy Paw-lidays from the stamp set. Originally, I placed Happy Paw-lidays right on the lid, stamped it, embossed it. In fact, I left it in the video. I wanted to show you. And I just don't love how it divides that section in the coffee cup where there is a cut line. The cut line is amazing if you want to tuck fun things like candy canes or straws or whatever the case may be. But in this case, the sentiments just didn't fit fantastic. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to cut apart my text from this sentiment. It will not harm the stamp at all. I'm going to be super careful with my cutting of it apart, but we're going to cut it apart and put it all in a straight line. And I really think that it is going to work much better with this. So I wanted to show you, I'm very, very carefully, I'm kind of almost bending it so that I can get right in between the 2 words. I am cutting it apart, and then we're going to manipulate it along the curved line of our coffee cup lid. Now, this won't ruin anything because you can put your stamp back together on something like an acrylic block or in your MISTI and stamp it as it was intended. But in this case, I'm able to manipulate it so that it just goes along that curve beautifully. And I like how it's just gonna look a little bit nicer, is ultimately the decision here. So I wanted to encourage you, don't be afraid to alter your stamps if you need to. I'm going to stamp and emboss each of these with white embossing powder on that black lid, and then we can glue these to the front of our coffee cup. I love how this bright white looks against the black of the background. Using liquid glue, I'm going to glue this to the top of each of my cups. Now, I did create some faux gift cards for my coffee cups today out of some Neenah Desert Storm cardstock. I even rounded the corners. I looked up a standard gift card size. I even took a gift card to see if it was the same size, and it was. So just to make it work for photography purposes, as well as to, send these tags into Simon Says stamp. So I'm going to tuck that down inside. So after I have my faux gift card holders down inside, I'm going to take a crocodile and I am punching a hole in the top of each of my gift cards. And I'm just changing the depth so that it's going to hit at the same spot on each one. Then I'm going to take some Lawn Fawn twine in aqua and red and thread it through the top of each. These will make fantastic tags to tie onto gifts and also include a little something extra in the gift card or cash that you tuck inside. I think it would be especially cute to maybe put a gift card to your favorite coffee shop and then tie it to a little gift or something. I always love including something like that. The great thing is that once you have given the gift and the recipient has used their gift card, they can obviously use this tag as a decoration or an ornament. So I've threaded all the twine through, knotted it, and then I just trim up those ends to make them nice and even. Now it is time for some coloring. I have all 3 of my images plus the 3 little holly berries and leaves, and we are going to color everything in with some Olo markers today. All of the colors I'm using are listed down in the description below the video here on YouTube, as well as over on my blog. I did very much try to color everything that was in one color family at one time as I could. So you'll notice that I'm kind of going through all of the images and coloring things that are black. The cardstock I used to color on today is Neenah 110-pound weight. I do like the Neenah as well as Hammermill 100-pound smooth color copy. In fact, I like it maybe even a little bit more to do any of my Olo coloring. I find I just get fantastic results with it. We're just going to go around and color everything in. Now I have left the coloring in today, all of the coloring, and I try not to speed it up too terribly much so that hopefully you enjoy and can watch the coloring. I did not keep track of how long it took me in real time to color this. I generally try to keep track. I would say it probably took anywhere from 35 to 45 minutes to color these in. I'm gauging it on another video I filmed after this where I did keep track. But it just kind of depends on, how many times you're changing colors and all of that good stuff. I know many of you look forward to the Newton's Nook exclusive release, and I think one of the awesome things about the Newton's Nook STAMPtember collaboration each year is the fact that you can very much take these images and mix and match them with things that have come out in the past, as well as anything in the Newton's Nook collection of stamped images. I love that about companies. I always talk about that, like with Lawn Fawn or Mama Elephant, how they do something very similar. Newton's Nook is another one that does this. And their sweet dog and cat images are just adorable. They're a nice size for coloring as well. They're not maybe as teeny tiny as some of the others I mentioned. So if you like a little bit more substantial image to color, I think these definitely fit the bill. And they have a very distinct, very cute look. I love using these and coloring them every year. We're moving on to our red color combination now. Just pulling all of that color in. I'm trying to keep the caps on the screen as well, just for easy reference. Gonna color all of the little, like watching them come to life. Selfishly, I also colored like the accessories first because I was really contemplating my animal colors. And sometimes I do that. I will try to, like in the back of my mind, be working on, okay, what colors do I want to use for this? And what colors do I want to use for that? While I'm coloring other things in. So I feel like I'm still doing something, but I get a nice little break, I suppose. So we're just going to outline kind of in our darker color. You may notice that with a lot of these images, I color opposite of maybe what you have seen in the past with Copics, or even what I've done in the past with Copics. I would say probably 9 times out of 10, I will do color the way I'm showing here, where I lay the dark color down around the image and then blend out with my mid and light tone, or just mid-tone. It depends on how many shades in a color family I'm using. With some of the previous alcohol ink coloring I have done, I would do like the light, add in the dark, add in the mid-tone, go back with the light again to blend out. It just kind of eliminates that step. And I gotta be honest, I kind of like it for speed, but I also like the results with these. I feel like it helps eliminate maybe the oversaturation that you can sometimes get with alcohol ink coloring. Adding some little texture to our sweet little, I think this puppy kind of looks like a little lab. So adding in some fun little shading. All right, adding in some cool grays for the brim of the Santa hat as well as the pom-pom. Let's go ahead and do that for our other puppy as well. All right. So I colored in, and I'm sorry I missed the color. So here I'm showing the colors on screen. I've listed them down below. The coloring was very similar to the first dog, just in a different colorway, a little bit different neutral tones. We're going to color in some pinks now and aquas for the hat and the scarf. And again, I am showing those down in the description. I chose not to restamp and color this guy since I've colored a lot, and I am coloring a lot on camera. This year, you guys, I've had some issues. When it comes to the coloring, I sometimes forget to turn my video camera on, and that is the part that takes the longest. I have got to do better. For the cat, I am going in and adding some fun little tabby tiger stripes and doing my little outlining. And then I'm going to go over the whole thing with my lighter shade. And that's going to soften the little tabby stripes, number one. But it also is going to give us that, beautiful shading. So now we're just going over the whole thing with our lighter color, and you can see that it just gives us beautiful results. Now, there are coordinating dies for this set, as there are this year for everything. I think I shouldn't probably say everything just in case, but I love that there are coordinating dies for all of these things because it makes it so stinking easy to cut everything. If you do not like cussy cutting is a phrase that our friend Deb, who is always was in our midnight chats, and she's in our noon chats now too, mentioned a couple years ago that really resonated with me because I do not like to fussy cut. I know many of you are just phenomenal fussy cutters. I am not one of them. So I love that there are coordinating dies, or you can always use something like a scan and cut if you don't want to get the dies, or if you like to fussy cut, you can do that as well. After I have die cut these, I am taking a black jelly roll pen and adding the detail into the eyes. I'll color the eyes in all the way black here for the puppy, and then we'll go back and add in some little white highlights when the black has dried. Then we're simply going to pop a critter on the front of each coffee cup. Easy as that. Very, very quick, not time consuming at all. but look at the results. Because we went ahead and did all of that die cutting, it's very simple. So now I'm just playing around with the little holly berry and leaves. I do think it's kind of cute on a couple of the hats, but I did opt to put it up by the sentiment. And then we are popping up our critters with some foam adhesive. Of course I am, because I love foam adhesive. And that is it. Super, super easy. Great little gift tags. If you love making gift tags every year like I like making gift tags, I hope you have enjoyed this idea and how versatile and fun this Lawn Fawn coffee cupped gift card holder is. Now, one of the final things that I will do for these gift tags before I call them done is I want to, like I mentioned, add the little white highlight back into our little puppy's eyes over there on the right, the aqua tag. And I'm just going back with my white pen now and adding that in. And when I had my white pen out, I thought, I kind of feel like making some little highlights, maybe adding some design to some of the, accessories that my critters are wearing and things like that. So we are going to use our pen now to add in a few things. And I kind of messed up my puppy's eyes, so I'm going to have to fix those. So we are going to take our white pen and we're going to add highlights to the noses. We're going to add in some little highlights to the bow. We're going to add some white stripe detail to a scarf. I mean, look how fun. This just dresses up our stamped images really quickly and easily. I'm a big fan of white pen detail. So we're going to go in now to the next image. Just a few little highlights here and there. That looks good. And let's do our kitty. Same thing. Do some stripes on the gift package and some little dots on the cheeks. And that is it, my friends. Let's move on to our Honey Bee Stamps Autumn card. Just like with the gift tags, we're going to start with our background first. I am using this amazing thread plaid embossing folder. I embossed a 4 by 5¼ inch panel of Nina Desert Storm cardstock with this wonderful textured embossing folder. And then I'm going to take the stripes and plaid builder stencils, and I'm going to use those on my background with 3 of the shades of Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated ink. We're going to apply these ink colors with blending brushes. The thread plaid is just going to accentuate the beauty of these wonderful stencils. We're going for an autumn palette here. So once I have applied the color one direction, I am just simply moving my stencil and I am applying it another direction. So that is giving me an instant plaid. So that already looks amazing. Then we're going to take our next stencil and we're going to do the same thing. We'll apply the color one direction, turn our stencil and apply it the other direction. So first up was paprika, this is nutmeg, and then we'll finish with allspice. These again are 3 of the new cube colors. Their full-size ink pads have been out for a little while, but now you can get these amazing colors in cubes. And look at how amazing the thread plaid picks up the embossed area. I love it so much. It just really gives you those fall vibes. And now finally, we're going to go in with allspice. And this is a much wider plaid or bigger surface area. And I'm using a little bit lighter hand here. You'll notice that the embossed areas are really catching the ink. And I don't want to use too heavy of a hand. I kind of like that nice variegation in color. I often love starting with the background building for a card, as I find it helps with the direction I feel like going with the design. And very much this background influenced how I felt about finishing my card. Oh, that Nina Desert Storm is the perfect base for this. So once we have our background, it is time to stamp our image for this. This is a wonderful 6x8 stamp set from Honeybee Stamps called Sending Autumn's Blessings. We are going to stamp our image with Hero Arts Intensified Black ink right on the Nina Desert Sand, and we are going to color this in with our Olo markers. I love how Olos look on the Nina cardstock. So we are going to start with the leaf images for our pumpkin patch today. And I love that this stamp set is just the perfect fall stamp set. Fall, Thanksgiving, all of that kind of good stuff. Now I will mention that there might be a little video inconsistency. I did have to refilm the coloring of my orange pumpkins. I've mentioned it before, but I have had the worst time keeping my camera going when I am doing my coloring this year. I should learn my lesson and probably not be talking on the phone when I am coloring, because I turn or pause my video and then forget to turn it on while I continue my coloring. So I am laying down my dark color first and then going in with the lighter shade. And then you will see a little bit of change, at least in the paper size and things like that, as I start to color in the orange pumpkins. I love how just deep and rich the colors look on the craft cardstock. I would love to know in the comments or in the chat, have you colored on craft cardstock? What do you think? Do you enjoy it? Do you like your results? Let me know. I think it is so much fun. So we're going to color in 3 of the pumpkins with our darker orange color combination first. Again, my marker colors will be listed down in the description below and over on my blog. I'm kind of just taking the shape or each section of the pumpkin and outlining with my darker color, and then I blended out with my lighter color, and I went back over it and feathered in some darker areas with the darkest, just to give my pumpkin a little more texture. So I'm going to go over the whole thing. I'm not even worried about the stem. We can go back over the stem with a darker color in a minute. Just really getting that base color on before I start adding in the texture of the pumpkin. I did leave 2 of the pumpkins to do in a different shade. I looked at it and I thought, oh, I don't know that I want them all to be orange. I want a couple of them to be in a different tone. So that's kind of how that came about. Now you'll notice I'm just feathering in with that darker color, giving them much more interest and lots of texture. These are really beautifully illustrated pumpkins. And I love seeing something kind of fall themed for STAMPtember. And then I even went in with my darker color. I'm just using a darker color I used for the leaves, and I'm using it for my stems, but I'm also going to use it to create some texture. I started and I was a little too heavy-handed with this one in particular. So let's just go back with our dark orange and blend that out. But I want to kind of concentrate most of that dark coming out from the center of each pumpkin near the stem. Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's start on our lighter pumpkins. For these, we're going to use more of a yellow-orange in a different colorway. A little bit more browns and golds to it, I suppose. And kind of the same thing. Going in with my dark color first, then my light, and then I can work that darker color back in as well as pull in maybe something even darker. I originally thought I would pull in like my dark greenish color, and I was like, no. So I'm pulling in a little bit of orange, my darker orange color, 2.7, very minimally. Just a little bit here and there, kind of again, that little feathery stroke, and then blending it out. There we go. I like that a lot. We're going to take the Coordinating Sindum Autumn's Blessings die and die cut our shape. Now, something else fantastic about this Sending Autumn Blessings set is there's coordinating dies for some of the sentiments. I stamped Give Thanks with a Grateful Heart and Happy Thanksgiving on that same Nina Desert Storm cardstock with the allspice colored ink, and die cut those with the coordinating dies as well. On the back of my pumpkin image, I am placing foam adhesive squares, and we are going to pop this up in the center of our background. Just like that. It looks fantastic against the plaid of the background. Now I need to figure out the placement for my greetings. I'm going to put one up high, kind of shifted over to the right, and one centered down below. Keeping it consistent with that craft cardstock is really the key for this beautiful design. Now there is a little bit of open space at the top and the bottom. For this, we are going to take the amazing Simon Says Stamp Ornate Borders and Frames stamp set, and we are going to stamp a fun little border or bracket, if you will, twice, that's going to frame up our card. Again, working on some Nina Desert Storm cardstock, I am stamping this little frame twice using clear embossing ink. This time, we're going to heat emboss with antique gold embossing powder and die cut with the coordinating dies. This Ornate Frames and Borders is not a brand new stamp set. It is something I pulled from my stash that's been out maybe a year, maybe longer, and it is fantastic. Sometimes I find things in my stash that I wonder how I hadn't used before. This year, it's definitely the year for the Ornate Frames and Borders and the Sterling labels. Both products were things that I discovered when I was kind of reorganizing and cleaning up my supplies, and I don't know how I haven't been using them this whole time because they're fantastic basics. Once I have embossed these brackets with the antique gold embossing powder and die cut with the coordinating die, you can see how they perfectly frame up a 4-inch wide background. And again, this background is 4 by 5 1/4, so it's slightly smaller than A2 sized, and it will give us a fantastic border all the way around. I'm going to glue these directly to the top and bottom of my frame, and then we're going to place it in a splatter box and add some fun distress on top. I just love how this frames up our pumpkins. Using some of the Spellbinders, using some of the Fallen Leaves Distress Mica Stain, we are going to dip a paintbrush in our mixed up Distress Mica and spatter it with a paintbrush over our background. It's going to give us a beautiful kind of shimmery effect. Then I have a little bit of the white spatter from Spellbinders that I'm also going to tap all over this. Finally, we'll take our whole panel, glue it to a white top fold card base, and add a few gemstones to finish it all off. These beautiful gold gems are going to be placed in the corners of our brackets. I did a bigger one in the center and 2 smaller ones out on the side. This is the gold mix, and it just gives a beautiful finished effect to our frame. This elegant card is sure to make anyone smile. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for these 2 cards featuring the STAMPtember limited edition exclusives from Newton's Nook and Honeybee Stamps. The supplies I used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Thanks for watching! Thank you so much for joining me today for another paper crafting tutorial. I love being able to share with this incredible community of crafters. I want to give a huge shout out and special thank you to my amazing Patreon members. If you're interested in joining Patreon, please click the link in the description underneath the video here on YouTube. Patreon is a private community where you can support more of what I do. There is exclusive content, information, and behind-the-scenes content. Top-tier members will receive a handmade birthday card during your birthday month, access to D-Stash, and monthly exclusive lives, plus so much more. We would love to have you join our growing community. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel, click that like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new video. Thanks for watching!